got the Dubashes back. We took a little week off, but now we're back. Tonight we're going to be discussing the our favorite summer blockbusters and kind of what they mean to us. Kick it off for us, Matt. Let's go.
Man, I tell you what, and it was one that we watched last night. It was Jaws. I mean, that's like what? It's like the regarded as like the first summer blockbuster film. And watching that movie, you realize how good it still is, even in like 4K. It's still really good. And I think probably one of Spielberg's. I still think that's probably like his best movie, even now. I mean, he's done a lot of really good movies since, but I don't know. There's just something about Jaws when I watch it. It's just like a perfect summer movie. I mean, it's set in 4th of July. It's just, I don't know, man against nature, man against himself. I love it.
So do you think that it's his best because of the limited resources and the limited funding that he had from back then? Because that movie came out in 1975, and he's got like an unlimited amount of resources now. So do you think that it is his best because it's so good and he had limited resources from back then? Or do you?
I don't. I think it's just because of subject matter. Because you think about this, I mean, how many shark movies were there before 1975? I mean, I can't think of any, especially one that had a special effect where they had to use 5 different sharks, mechanical sharks, to do it. So
Bruce,
I think, I don't know. I think at that time, I mean, he was pretty innovative to be able to do what he did. Especially in water, especially working with a shark that didn't work half the time. So I don't know. He was definitely younger and hungrier on Jaws. Just talking about Spielberg, but I don't know. I still think it's just his best. I don't know if it's just because he's got more resources now that he's not as good. But I mean, Spielberg's one of those guys. He does a lot of different projects. He doesn't stick to one genre. So you can't, he done E.T., Close Encounters. I mean, he was the executive producer on The Goonies, Back to the Future. I mean, he's done so much, but I still think Jaws to me is his best movie. And when you talk about summer blockbusters, that movie is huge. I remember Dad talking to me about it when he went to the theater, and he said, "Man, when you went to the theater to watch it in 1975, he's like this." He said everybody was screaming. He said because it was just a terrifying movie that nobody had ever seen before.
Hey, there's a place in Georgia. There's a place in Georgia where you can go watch it, and it's in a lake, and they've got a big drive-in theater screen you watch it at while you're out there floating.
Yeah, they also show Friday the 13th a lot out there too. That movie's got a lot going for it as far as a summer blockbuster in my mind because A, it takes place during the summertime. B, it takes place at the beach. Who doesn't love the beach? And what's the first thing you think of as you're walking in the water at the beach? There's a shark out here going to bite me or something like that. So it's like the perfect date movie, back in the day, you take your girl out, to the drive-in, watch it. I mean, to me, that movie is just an American classic. I love it. I can watch it to this day and love it just as much as the first time I watched it.
I love Jaws. We watch it every year, sometime around the 4th of July. But it's an awesome movie. It's an awesome summer movie. It's one of those movies where you can basically just watch it at any time of the year. I just really like watching it in July because it is a summer movie.
Yeah, I definitely like watching it during the summertime. Because I don't know, if you watch it in the wintertime, I don't think it'd be as good. I think I can only watch that movie during the summertime. It just puts me in a better time and a better place.
I mean, you think about this though. When you talk about Jaws, you look at like Friday 13th. I mean, you got the settings of summer camp. I mean, if you went out in the woods and stuff like that, you start to get a little creepy. You look at Halloween, it kind of makes you think about Halloween in a different way, because of Myers and stuff like that. Freddy Krueger, you start thinking about dreams in a different way. And Jaws to me did that with water, because there was a lot of people that didn't go to the beach back then, and still probably now because of that movie.
And
yeah, you're probably right.
About sharks.
So something else, a little tidbit, and I think this came from the documentary from the Blu-ray. I can't exactly remember, but after Jaws come out, there was a huge spike in the number of shark basically killings. They started fishing for sharks, and yeah, it was pretty big. It was a big spike.
People going out there hunting them, wasn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Spielberg did it. He paid those sharks to kill people. That's what it was.
Right.
He had
Yeah,
unlimited resources.
You know, he said in an interview a few months ago, I was reading online, where he said that he kind of regretted doing Jaws because it stigmatized the great whites, and Peter Benchley said the same thing before he
Really?
died.
Well,
Yeah.
see, back in 1975, the oceanographic people, they didn't know as much about shark and shark encounters like they do now. And so sharks were, I mean, they were, when you see that movie come out, that's what people thought is like, I can't remember Richard Dreyfuss. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said the shark basically swims, eats, and makes baby sharks. And that's what people thought. The shark just swims up, and anything that's in the water, the shark's going to eat. That's the mindset of people from back then, because they didn't understand ecosystems and different things like that.
Yeah. And
Most of the time,
go ahead.
but most of the time when a shark attacks you, it thinks that you're a seal or something like that. That's why usually they don't just eat the whole person. They'll bite off a leg and spit it out, because that's not a seal.
Yeah, the damage is
then they
done.
move on.
Them know, baby. Praise God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of Spielberg, man, that dude, if you think about it, he's got, like Matt said, the Goonies, E.T. What'd you say about what was that one he done about the aliens? Close Encounter. Man, like all those movies are epic summer blockbusters. That dude's like the king of the summer blockbuster, man.
And I think he produced, and I think he was executive producer on the Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Didn't he do those too? So
he directed the first the trilogy.
The first three.
Yeah, and and that's one of the things. If you look at in Indiana Jones, I mean, it wasn't a blockbuster when it came out.
Shoot, it was in my eyes, baby.
I mean, Indiana Jones, man. I mean, that's a summer movie right there. I didn't like 2. I didn't like Temple of Doom at all.
I like Temple of Doom.
I liked them all, man. I could watch Indiana Jones and the Goonies and all those movies. Those movies I can watch all the time. Didn't he have something to do with Star Wars as well?
Well, that was his buddy. They see him, and
he didn't help him out or anything like that.
George Lucas.
Yeah, him and George Lucas, and there was a third one. It was Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, and another big time director. And it was kind of a running joke with all of them that all of them had won Academy Awards except for George Lucas. But yes, they all kind of had different things to do with each other's movies. They would either come in as a producer, or they would lend a hand in some kind of way in most of those movies.
I know there's Star Wars where like the ET's actually down there clapping at like one of the scenes with the Senate and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of cool tie-in for all those movies and stuff like that.
And they didn't even want Harrison Ford to be Indiana Jones because he was in American Graffiti, which is one of the first movies that dude did, Spielberg or whoever. But so they wanted Tom Selleck to do it, but he couldn't do it because he couldn't get out of Magnum PI because they had just done the pilot for it. So they let him come in and audition.
Didn't he do some test screen footage for Indiana Jones?
Tom Selleck?
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's who they wrote the movie with him in mind, but he couldn't get out of his contract. Just like Back to the Future. One of them said something about it. See, they was going to get Michael J. Fox, but he couldn't get out of his contract with Family Ties, so they got Eric Stoltz and shot the whole movie.
They shot the whole movie, didn't they?
Yeah, and they was like, man, he sucks. So they made it. So they made a deal with Family Ties or NBC, whoever, that he could only shoot after he got done shooting for Family Ties. That's why all the scenes he's in is at night in that movie.
So the thing with Eric Stoltz, from what I've understood out of the documentaries that I've watched and stuff, is he took it a lot more serious, and it ended up being a lot more serious role, and it didn't play like they wanted it to, and Michael J. Fox ended up playing it a lot better.
Yeah. And I know he would go in between filming of Family Ties and stuff like that. That's pretty awesome.
Could you imagine, though? Could you imagine watching Indiana Jones with Tom Selleck?
I think it would work, man.
You think so?
I think it would work, man. Tom Selleck rules, baby.
Yeah, Tom Selleck was a designated hitter for the Detroit Tigers for one preseason game, and because he was going to be a baseball player. He was doing a movie, something about playing baseball. I mean, dude's like 6'4". I mean, he was athletic enough to do it.
Well, I'm not saying that it would be a bad movie. I'm just saying we all know Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford is Han Solo, and Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. And
looking back on it now, that you couldn't really picture it. But I think if we would have never seen Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, I think Tom Selleck would have totally worked. What you think, Matt?
Oh, I think he definitely would, because you think about this: when you see these guys that get typecasted in like TV show roles or movie roles, you can't think of anybody else. But I mean, you think about like Tombstone, for example. Does that movie work without Val Kilmer?
No.
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 The way that movie works without Val Kilmer.
No.
It don't work without Michael Biehn either.
That movie almost didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because they got Kevin Costner to do the Tombstone thing first, and then it was going a different direction. It wasn't enough about Wyatt Earp. So he left, and when he left, he had a lot of pull back then. He had more pull than everybody that was doing Tombstone. So he told all the people that was selling like the costumes and stuff and all that for them, don't give them anything. Don't give them nothing. So the people from Tombstone had to find their own way and like sew their own stuff with the materials that were used from Europe that they would have used back in the Western days anyway. So they went through a bunch of stuff just to get that movie made because Kevin Costner got hurt.
Kevin Costner's a dick, man. I don't like him. I'm sorry.
I think he's a good actor, man, but he, that's going a little too far. I don't like the way this movie's going. Fuck him. Let's let it burn.
Well,
I don't like
didn't
that.
he just pull some stunt on Yellowstone too that they had to shut that whole show down because he didn't get his way on it?
He was getting divorced and needed some time off, and Taylor Sheridan told him, no, you ain't getting any time off. We're going to shoot this. Well, then while they was having the time off, the dude that plays Rip, Cole Hauser, made a coffee company, and he put a brand on it. And it ain't a Yellowstone brand. It's whatever, but it looks a lot like the Yellowstone. So Taylor Sheridan took him to court, suing him over that brand on that coffee. So Taylor Sheridan, he implodes a lot. He'll start a bunch of things, but he never finishes. Look at 1923 and the mayor of I can't think of that one movie, the Mayor of Dogtown or something like that. Anyway,
Lords of Dogtown.
No, not Lords of Dogtown. It's the Mayor of Kingstown. That's it. He started that one. They did one season. He started a show with Sylvester Stallone in it, and they did one season, and he just can't finish.
Tulsa King?
Yeah.
Man, that show was good, wasn't it?
Tulsa King was pretty good. A couple episodes.
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
I watched a couple episodes. I liked it. I didn't know they'd done with that show. That sucked. Screw that guy too, then.
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan can burn in hell.
Yeah, you suck, Taylor. But well, listen, if you're gonna ask me, and my favorite blockbuster summertime movie is Back to the Future, though. We know we was discussing it a little earlier, man, but to this day, I'm 46 years old, and it's my dream to have a DeLorean to this day. Kind of switching to maybe a Cybertruck now, but like I'd love to have a DeLorean. Tesla needs to make a DeLorean that runs off batteries. Shout out, what's the guy's name? It's over Tesla.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Shout out. There's your idea, Elon. Come out with some DeLoreans, baby.
All right, here's my question for you.
All right.
So, in Back to the Future, they went back 30 years. Okay, I think it was Doc Brown's idea.
Yeah.
If you were going to get into the DeLorean, you could go back or forward at any point. Which one would you do? What would you do? What year?
Now, man, look, this is going to get off on another podcast for a future date, but you asked me, so I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, tell me.
If I'm in the DeLorean / Cybertruck time machine, because I feel like if they was ever going to redo this movie, it would have to be a Cybertruck now, not a DeLorean, but that's neither here nor there. So if you ask me what I'm going to do, I'm dialing in the dates, fixing to hit 88 miles per hour. I'm going back to when the pyramids was being made, man, because I want to know how they was made. Now, like I said, we can have a whole nother podcast on our theories on how the pyramids was made, but that's the part of history. That's the part of history. I think aliens made them. You don't know my opinion.
God Almighty.
Like
Yeah, but here's the thing though. What's the date that you're going to dial in, because nobody knows when they were built?
You know what, Travis? As
Actually,
I was saying that,
point. That's a valid question.
You don't know. You don't know, because they're obviously older than what anybody thinks they are. And those pyramids are 300 feet high. And some of the stones in the King's Chamber, which is at the top, weigh over like 300 tons. So we got to figure out how, number one, we're going to transfer. I think those stones came from a quarry 500 miles away. How do we transfer a stone that weighs like 300? It may not be that heavy, whatever. It's real heavy. We can't lift it by ourselves. So, how are we going to transfer it 500 miles? Because 500 miles today is a long distance. But how are we going to transfer it 500 miles? Then how are we going to get it 300 feet in the air? So
I say the same thing, man. I've said the same thing for years.
We're going to do all that with some camels and sand. No.
They didn't have it is historically accurate from scientists that I have read who said they did not have the equipment or the tools at that time that they think the pyramids were built to achieve what they got.
So
exactly.
But
so
I
you
think that
Yoda
we're biased.
That was Yoda using the Force. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what force was used. I know it wasn't a human force. I can promise you that.
Here's the thing though. See, we're biased because we think, we're the smartest ever. These people
You're right.
These people was writing on papyrus. They didn't have electricity. Well, why is there paintings or hieroglyphs of people holding light bulbs? They were smarter.
Travis,
they were smarter than we're
right.
giving them credit
You're
for.
right. Here's the thing. Like I said, it's the whole. We can go ahead and schedule this one for a couple of weeks from now, but that's why they think civilization's older than what it is, because the theory now is that the Egyptians inherited those pyramids. They've been there long before the Egyptians even come around. And there's a thing called the Younger Dryas theory that, basically came about 11,000 years ago, wiped out civilization, and everything started over. Like I said, we can get into all that later, but I have a lot of theories about the pyramids in ancient Egypt. So praise God. You know what I'm saying?
I think mine and yours are about the same.
Oh, listen, that's all I do is study this stuff. So we'll go ahead and schedule this one for a couple weeks from now. But if I wasn't going back to the periods, Daniel, or the pyramids thing, let's see, I wouldn't want to go to the future because I think that would suck. Probably, man, somewhere in the 80s, baby. I don't know. Probably 80s.
You know what I'd do? You know what I would do? Here's what I'd do. I'd go back to the 1970 and I would write every song that was ever a #1 hit. All of them. And then I'd invest all that money from those record sales into companies that I know is going to hit, like Apple.
Apple,
Like
yeah.
what's
Microsoft.
that? Microsoft, all that, man. What's that other one? That other big IBM.
Yeah.
And then
well, that became Apple, right?
Yeah, and then I'm just going to count my money, son. That's it.
Then I'm gonna go buy Cybertrucks and create more time machines.
That you just got to go 44 miles an hour to get back in time because it's cheaper on gas.
Just do like Lou did in Hot Tub Time Machine, man, and invent the internet.
And it's legal.
Yeah.
It's legal.
Yeah.
It ain't Google. It's legal.
All right. Let me see if I can steer this train wreck back on the tracks here real quick. All right, Daniel, give me your favorite summer movie, buddy. We'll start off with you.
All right. So my favorite summer movie is Batman 1989.
Heck yeah, baby, praise.
That come out in June 23rd, 1989. It was directed by Tim Burton. And of course, it's got my all-time favorite Batman, Michael Keaton, in it. My all-time favorite Joker, which is Jack Nicholson. Heath Ledger, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're second place on this one. It's got Kim Basinger, and Tracy Walter is Bob the Goon, and Bob the Goon is just as important to that movie as what Michael Keaton is. Bob the Goon is awesome.
Who was Bob the Goon?
Bob the Goon was
Joker's number one guy.
Yeah, Joker's number one guy. At the end of it, he asked him to give him the gun because Batman come in and took the balloons. He says, "They're taking my balloons." And he says, "Bob, gun." Bob hands him the gun, and then he shoots Bob.
Yeah, I remember now. I got a cool story about that movie. When it came out, what was that, 1989, something like that?
1989, baby.
So when that movie came out, man, I flipped my lid all of a sudden. Like, I was never a Batman fan at all. But when this dude come out dressed in all black, I was like, whoa, man, I'm gonna go fight crime. So I can remember staying at my aunt's house in Chattanooga with my cousin, and we had a little go-kart, and we were going to equip that sucker with like sheet metal on the side, put some BB guns on it. We was going to go out and fight crime at night, man.
Oh, you just asking for it. You just asking for it, bruh.
No, I know. We was going to. Could you imagine me driving down the street?
Die.
Yeah. Could you imagine me going down the street with a BB gun trying to fight some crime?
In 1989, I was 10 years old, and my mom dropped me off at the American Cinema in Athens, and I watched that movie by myself.
That's awesome.
I watched a lot of movies by myself, but I distinctly remember watching that movie by myself.
I don't remember who I watched it with, but I know I watched it, and I know I was supposed to get the tape for Christmas. And I remember I couldn't wait, man, to get it for Christmas. And I went there and I was tearing open all the stuff, and I didn't get it. And I remember looking at my aunt and my mom saying, I said, "Y'all didn't get me Batman?" And they was like, "No, we couldn't get our hands on it." Man, I started crying. And keep in mind, I'm 11 years old. And I was crying like a baby, man. And they're like, "God, here was just playing with you." And they had it like hid behind the couch, and they gave it to me.
Oh, that dirty pool right there.
Yeah. So I ended up getting it, and I remember sitting there and watching. It's like, man, I could watch this anytime I want to. This is great.
That movie is probably if it's not in my top 10 movies of all time, it's definitely in my top 20 all time. I could sit down and watch that movie right now, start to finish.
Oh yeah.
I've probably seen it at least from start to finish at least 50 times, if not more.
Oh God,
And
there's no doubt.
it never gets old, man. I can watch that movie at any point in the day, night, any time of year. Like, it's great.
Yeah. Travis, what you got on a movie wise? Let me pick your brain a little bit.
Mine was Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
And I mean, the first one came out in '84, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was just learning English then. But then I think Terminator 2 came out in '92, and the special effects is what made it. I mean, Of course, the mystique of Arnold doing another, being the Terminator, but this time he's a good guy, was pretty good. But as far as, it made Robert Patrick's career. It got Linda Hamilton. It got her a paycheck so she could eat again, because I don't think she did anything since 1984 till that movie come out.
Children of the Corn after the original Terminator, and that's
so like I said, she didn't do nothing after 1984. So, but the special effects was pretty good. I'd never seen anything melting metal or anything.
Yeah,
going through bars.
The special effects on that, I don't know about the T-1000, okay, but the special effects with the whole lightning and all that, whenever they come from the future back to the past and they got all the lightning and stuff, didn't they use that same software, whatever, for the Highlander series? I used to watch the Highlander a lot in the afternoons after school.
I'm sure they did. I'd say a lot of them movies are made on the same sets. How we going to get lightning? Oh, well, the Highlander's off Tuesday. We go over there and use their stuff.
They got a lightning machine over there.
Man, whatever.
We brought it back with the DeLorean.
It was cool looking stuff. It was awesome.
I don't remember the lightning in that movie. Dang, I'm forgetful of my old age.
It's just when they come back, like when they go transition from the future to back here.
And they're all naked stuff.
Them robots had it all wrong, man. Why wasn't they writing songs and investing money and be like, I don't care nothing about John Connor or Sarah Connor, none of them. I just want the money.
Well, the thing about it is you don't know how close we are to Terminator in real life, fellow. You know what I'm saying? With this AI thing now, that's what everybody's afraid of now, is they're going to end up and, it's going to think, well, humans, they're not perfect, so I'm just going to kill all them off. So here we are, Skynet, baby,
but here's the thing. But they ain't none of them robots hanging out over here in McMinn County. Now look, it can kill everybody in Los Angeles. That'd be great. I'll send them a medal. But my computer, I built it. I didn't put any legs on it, so I can still beat it up if I need to. I ain't scared of it beating me up or killing me or nothing. But those robots, they ain't coming to McMinn County. They don't want nothing to do with it. They don't want none of that smoke over here.
Yeah, well, let's hope not. The theory is you're going to have AI doing everything. It's going to be, eventually helping drive your car and helping you get your groceries and, Skynet, baby, it's coming. Just prepare.
Skynet. Judgment Day. What was it in Terminator 2? Judgment Day?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, no fate. What she carved on the picnic table. I guess it was supposed to be like a big deal, I'd have been if my mom would have carved something like that at the picnic table, I'd be like, what a loser. You didn't finish your home, man.
So was talking about Jaws as a summer blockbuster. What do you think I don't know what kind of fans you guys are, but what do you think the true bigger blockbuster of the summer was, Star Wars or Jaws?
It'd have to be Jaws. It'd have to be Jaws because Star Wars, it didn't really go over as well as they thought it was going to, that first one. They like the guy that played Ben Kenobi, he thought it was stupid. He didn't want to do the movie.
It's Alec Guinness.
Yeah, he did the movie, and somebody's like, what are you working on? It's just some stupid sci-fi movie. He thought it was going to be a flop, and it almost was. But somehow it got turned around. I think the second one brought the first one more publicity or got people to watching it too.
Yeah, I don't know how that went down.
I can agree with that. I don't know statistically and ticket sales and all that stuff between 1975 and I think Star Wars come out in 1976. So there's
77.
77. Okay. So you got like a 24-month difference there. I think that the initial hit of Jaws was probably a little bit better than initially what it was with Star Wars. I think that you're right, Travis. I think that it kind of built momentum between 77 and I think Empire Strikes Back come out in what, 78 or something?
Actually, in 1977, Fox's greatest movie profits were 37 million. That was their record high. When Star Wars debuted, they shattered that record with 79 million, and the first Star Wars movie literally brought Fox out of bankruptcy.
Wow.
So
Okay. So
it actually done very good. It's Star Wars is the second highest grossing film of all time.
well, there you
Yeah,
go.
but
See?
what about Jaws? What Jaws do?
Well, what did we say? 79 million on Star Wars? Let's go look. Let me look it up.
And then let's do like some what do you call it? Some inflation adjustments there. That way we're even. I don't like to be wrong.
Oh, I ain't saying you're wrong, baby. We just stating some facts here. Ain't about being right or wrong.
Now all time sales, yeah, I'd say it's it's way surpassed Jaws, but I'm talking like the year they came out. What was their
let me
initial
look.
first year?
I'm looking. Y'all talk amongst yourself while I'm looking.
Definitely long term, Star Wars has got Jaws beat because what have you got? You got Jaws 1, then you got Jaws 2 that come out in 1978. That was a little bit worse than that. Then you had Jaws 3 that come out in 1983, had Dennis Quaid in it. Poor effects with the 3D movie. And then you had Jaws 4, The Revenge, that come out sometime around 1987. And that movie, if it made $5, it was doing good because that movie was god awful. And then you look at all the sequels to the Star Wars franchise.
Well, I think the sequels is what made the first one get as much money as it did because Darth Vader, when he had more of a character in the second and third one, other than, hey, he's a bad guy. When those come out, then it started getting people interested. Well, I want to watch the first one to see what I missed.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, I'm seeing Jaws made 476 million at the box office. I'm trying to find Star Wars. Something ain't right.
I tell you, man.
Because Darth Vader said, "I'm your daddy."
Actually, he didn't. But that's another podcast we can get into.
Then he broke the world.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm your daddy."
I'm your baby daddy.
Star Wars 464 million. So I guess Jaws made more money. So I guess Jaws is the winner of that. Made by two different studios, but I guess Jaws made more money.
Well,
Pensacola beats Jeopardy champion.
What year did Jaws come out in?
75.
All right, so Star Wars didn't come out to 77, so you got a little inflation adjustment there too. So Jaws, baby, praise God.
You got to look at it like this too. I mean, you look at the subject matter between Jaws and Star Wars. I mean, you're going to have more people that kind of gravitate toward a shark in the beach and the water than you are outer space opera.
Especially in 1977. Especially in 1975.
I would say Star Wars was looked as more like a kid's movie, like a sci-fi nerd movie, when Jaws was like, hey, I'm going to take my lady to see this scary movie, so I can get, have a good time that night with her.
So there's 3 iconic scenes from Jaws that I remember that was actually pretty scary. So the initial swim out to the buoy with the girl in the very first scene. She's out there, she's hanging out in the water, she's half drunk, her boyfriend's passed out on the beach, he's drunk. And then something swims up, grabs her, and it's one of the most, you don't see anything except for her thrashing around in the water, but it's one of the most horrific deaths in cinema. Okay.
Right.
The one that really got me was whenever Jaws showed up on the beach. They were supposed to close the beaches. They didn't close the beaches. They had everybody down at the beach and they were swimming. They finally do see the shark. They start calling everybody in, and you got this guy that's, I think maybe his boat is flipped upside down or whatever. He's trying to climb back into the boat, and you see the shark come up under the water, and you see the shark under the water like clamp down on him. To me, because like I've just been terrified of sharks my whole life, that to me is probably the scariest scene in that movie. And then the other one that I was referring to was whenever the two dudes was out on the dock and they had the reward money for bringing the shark in. So the guy gets his wife's Christmas ham or whatever, and he throws it out there, and then it takes the dock off into the water, and then he's on the dock too. So then his buddy, he tells him, he says, don't turn around, just swim. And the dock is turned around. So if you're thinking about that, you know, the chain was about 20 feet long or so. The shark was way out in front of that dock. So that shark, when he was swimming back to his buddy, was a lot closer to him than what you would think. But anyway, those are three iconic scenes from that movie that I remember actually being scared by. When they were actually out on the boat and they were fishing for Jaws towards the end of the movie, that to me, that was, you know, just more of an action kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the scary parts about that, especially with the shark under the water, clamping down on that guy.
Yeah, whenever that duck quits going out there, I feel like that monkey on them memes. Oh no!
What do you guys think about the movie E.T., man? That's another movie that I thoroughly enjoyed growing up.
So my aunt took me to watch E.T. When it come out at the theaters. I think E.T. come out in about 1982, if I'm thinking about it right, 82 or 83.
Yeah, probably right.
That's probably the earliest movie that I can remember seeing, and I was so young at that point. I was only 2 or 3 years, maybe 3 years old or whatever. I only remember really the ending where they had all the white tents and everything. The government come in and set up all the tents, and they were trying to steal E.T. back, and then they took off flying on the BMX bikes and stuff. That's really the only part that I actually remember from that. But I mean, I hadn't seen it in a long time, but it was a really good movie.
E.T. was awesome.
And I think they was just trying to get him. The government was, because they was trying to get him on tax evasion. They just needed some of that money back then. That's what it was. Dude's got a glowing finger. He's always trying to call long distance. You know he's loaded. He can pay his taxes.
Yeah, they want that special finger, baby. You know what I'm saying?
What'd you think about E.T.? You remember E.T. watching it?
Hey, me?
Yeah.
I loved E.T., man. I loved the scene at Halloween when they're all running around dressed up like little Yoda and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that scene.
Yeah. I loved E.T., man, and like I was just like everybody else when they come and try to kill E.T. I was sad, you know. But my favorite memory about E.T. was, don't hold me to against this, but there was a movie in the theaters, and it was at the American Cinema. It was at the Plaza Twin, if y'all remember the Plaza Twin. My mom took me to see a movie called The Gates of Hell. You know, hey, we love horror movies, you know what I'm saying? Praise God.
That's what I'm talking about.
But it wasn't The Gate?
It may have been The Gate. I don't remember. But regardless, I was too scared to watch this movie, right? I was in there crying, you know. I probably wasn't 4 years old. Shouldn't have been there to begin with, but so I was too scared to watch the movie. So they take me out, and all the people in the lobby, the workers, were like feeling bad for me because I was too scared to watch that movie. So they said, hey, go in here and finish this movie we got on this side. It's called E.T. So that's how I got to watch E.T. the first time. I was too scared to watch this movie I was watching on the other side, and they was good enough to let me go in there and finish watching E.T. And I loved E.T., man. I you know, that's a good movie. I could watch it today, you know.
And your mom's still sitting at the gate. She's like, "Screw you, man."
No, she came with me, man. I guess she felt bad because she took me to a movie. I could have swore it was called The Gates of Hell, but I don't know. It may have been The Gate.
I think it was The Gate, and that's where that kid had that hole next to that tree, right?
Yeah, and all I remember is a bunch of worms and bugs and stuff crawling out of this dude's face. And I remember I freaked out, man. They had to get me out of there.
Hey, do you know who played? Do you know? That little kid was Stephen Dorff before he was ever in Blade. Any of that?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a very young Stephen Dorff in that movie.
Yeah. I don't even know who Stephen Dorff is, man.
He's
But
the bad guy that put on the lotion in Blade. That was out there the day
Yeah.
he was the
Man.
bad. Yeah.
I ain't never seen Blade. What you talking about? Ain't
Man,
no
that's
Wesley
a good movie.
Snipes.
You ain't ever seen Blade?
You
Nah,
gotta watch
man.
Blade, dude.
We're not
Ain't never
friends
seen
no more, bruh.
Man, look, man. It's like this. Wesley Snipes can't be a vampire. It's just that simple.
Why?
You
Cause
know?
he black? Is that what you trying to do?
No, it ain't got
what's
nothing to do with color, baby. I love everybody.
No, man.
Wesley Snipes. Wesley
Snipes.
Snipes needs to be shooting basketball, not sucking blood. You know what I'm saying?
He is Willie Mays Hayes. That is
It's
who
really
that is.
amazing.
He is Willie Mays Hayes, but
Yeah.
Blade was a good
Or
movie.
shooting 3-pointers. That's what he needs to be doing.
Blade was a good flick, man. It was good all the way through.
I ain't never
Let me
seen
tell you a story about the American cinema. You said that your mama took you to watch the gate at the American
Yeah.
cinema.
Yeah, it was
My
something.
mama took me in 1988 to watch Halloween 4 at the Plaza Twin. And I had no business at 9 years old watching Halloween 4, but I had done seen the first 3. So
Would
I
you
was
buy
like, shoot,
yourself
yeah.
in?
I said, no, my mama was there for
Oh,
that
she
one.
stayed with you that time?
Yeah, she was there. No, the one that she wasn't at was it was me and Matt and Justin Lee. And we went, they dropped us off at the Plaza Twin and we watched Spaced Invaders.
What?
Spaced. It was a comedy. The movie itself didn't ever do nothing. But it was a comedy. It's a kids comedy about 1989 or 88, 89. And my dad was like an hour late picking us up because he sat at the American cinema waiting for everybody to get out when he should have been at the Plaza Twin. Matt, you remember that? You actually called your mom and dad.
I don't remember. I remember the movie, but I don't remember that night.
Yeah, it was me, you, and Justin Lee, and of course Matt. He calls his mom and dad because somebody got to come get us. You know.
How did y'all have to go up there and ask to use the phone?
Well, they had a payphone.
Oh,
you don't
okay.
you don't remember the payphone out there?
Man, I don't remember. Where was y'all was at the Plaza Twin.
Yeah.
And your dad was at the American Cinema.
Yeah, he sit there. That dude sit there and smoked about a carton of cigarettes, and then he got mad at us like it was our fault.
Like it was y'all's fault. I ain't no taxi.
He shows up and he's like, "Well, let's go." And I'm like, "Now we got to wait for Matt's mom and dad to get here because Matt called his mom and dad." And he goes, "What?" Then he got mad at us. I was like, "Well, come on, man. You was the one that was sitting down at the wrong theater for an hour." God.
Matt, I bet your mom and dad was pissed, wasn't they?
Yeah, they were.
I mean, who knows? I don't even remember that night, so probably.
Yeah, you probably got beat till you forgot about it.
Matt's probably drinking in there, 6 years old. Too much popcorn, hungover.
I tell you about the Plaza Twin. Another movie that I saw by myself, 1990, was The Exorcist 3.
Man, don't get me started on that movie.
My mama had to buy my ticket to get into that movie.
You watched that by yourself?
I watched it by myself. The scene where the dude was, they were in an old folks' home.
Yeah, I know. I already know what you're talking about.
He watched it just like this.
Yeah, no, I watched the whole movie, but that scene scared the crap out of me with the dude in the white robe or whatever.
Well, yeah, whatever. She come out of the door right after he walked out.
Yeah,
I was like, oh God, that scared the crap out of me, man.
And so Travis's brother, Kurt, he come in from West Virginia. While he lived here, I think he was here for about a year or so. But he actually worked at the nursing home in Etowah, and he said that they actually used to do that as a prank. They'd put on a bunch of white sheets and stuff, and they would go walking like they were in The Exorcist 3.
Yeah, man, I remember I seen that scene for the first time. I was over at Mitchell's house one night, and we're sitting there watching it, and it's all quiet. And he goes in that room, looks around, then comes out and shuts the door behind him. And all of a sudden, that door opens up, and that thing's like, ew, comes out with those scissors. It was like, oh my God.
That was awesome. It was not awesome sitting there by myself because I about crapped myself. But
I was at the drive-in when I saw it. one of them Dustal Domes they had at Halloween time. They'd show nothing but scary movies all night.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
Man, speaking of Dusk Till Dawns, what has happened to the Dusk Till Dawns, man? Why don't they do them
They still
anymore?
they do still have them, but they ain't got nobody dressed up like Jason or Michael Myers walking around the cars. Nothing.
Well, they need to up their game. They didn't have a Dusk Till Dawn over Memorial Day. I was wanting to go to it.
No, they usually just have them in the summer. Like they'll have them like 4th of July, and then I think they have them like the weekend before school starts usually. Something
Well,
like
they need
that.
to do them. They need to do them when I want to do them, because it's about me.
That's right. Yeah, we don't have a business model. We just go off what Corky wants.
Well, you got to have some good movies to show too. If you only come out with 1 or 2 good movies a month, you don't have any good movies unless you.
They got a Fire Stick. They can watch any movie they want.
I used to love going to those Dusk Till Dawns, though, man. You'd hang out on the playground all night, get sick on that merry-go-round, and throw up all over the place.
I like to go beat on the car.
Then you go. One night I ended up in that Dunkin' booth. Somehow they let me get in that Dunkin' booth, and I was getting dunked all night in old nasty muddy water, man.
There you go.
That's why I don't get COVID today, because of that muddy water I was floating around in that night.
Yeah, I don't think that was mud, Corky.
It may not have been. It was good times, though. You get dunked in that Dunkin' booth and go over and hit on that car 2 or 3 times, then go eat some popcorn, watch a movie. It was great. But
oh no, you're doing too much. See, we never went to the drive-in unless we had a bucket of chicken from KFC.
Oh, yeah, you gotta have a bucket of chicken from KFC.
Yeah, we sneaking all the food in here. We're bringing large pizzas. I am not buying $6 cup full of popcorn and some some little
man. I tell
candy
you how long
bars.
I tell you how long it's been since I've been to a Dusk Till Dawn. The last movie that was played. They played 4 movies that night. The last movie that was played was Police Academy Part 6.
Oh my God.
That's how long it's been since I've been to the Dusk Till Dawn.
Dude, that was back in the day.
My God, that's 1980 something, I swear. I don't know when Police Academy 6 come out.
You old man. I bet you took a covered wagon to school uphill both ways in the snow.
They had Troop. I remember they had Troop Beverly Hills, and it had Goldie Hawn in it.
Yeah.
And Police Academy 6. I swear those are the 2 out of the 4. I don't know what the other 2 was.
Listen, I can remember going to the drive-in over there, and I remember I went. My mama took me to watch Death Wish 3 with Charles Bronson in it. But check it out. This is how old I am. As we're leaving after Death Wish 3 goes off, you can hear on the little radio there. He goes, "All right, now that our second flick is over, it's time to get the kiddies home to bed, and the adult movies will start as soon as you got 15 minutes to get the kiddies out of here." So yeah, they would play a couple movies, and then after that they would play adult movies. After that, I can still remember it because as we was pulling out of the how you got to go down that little road to get out, I'd be trying to look out the back window, seeing if they would start it before we got out of there. But yeah, that's good times, man. Love the drive-in. Yeah, I know. But that was some days, man. Anytime you go catch a couple flicks, and then after that, the adult movies come on.
I wore the American Cinema out.
We was talking about summer movies, man, but do you remember back, I think it was like 96 when Independence Day come out?
Yeah, I loved that movie, man.
Dude, that was a big movie back then.
It was, yeah. It was a very big movie. I remember the hype around that movie when they showed that beam come down and blow up the White House and all that stuff. Yeah. Man, they blew that movie up, man. It was good times.
But I hated that. I hated the guy that played the president, Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
I always hated him. The only thing that I seen him in that I liked was that show he just had that was on Netflix, The Sinner, I think it's called.
Bill Pullman was in Spaceballs, man.
Yeah, that don't mean he was a good actor. I didn't like the dude. He could be Prince Vesper. He could be Prince Lone Star and everything, and he still was hot garbage, except for that movie or that show, The Sinner. was really good. You need to watch that. If you ain't seen it, you need to watch it. He's a detective. It's a good
I
time.
don't even know who you're talking about.
Bill
He's the
Pullman?
guy he's the guy that's like, today is our Independence Day. He's supposed to be like he's trying to get an Oscar, but he ain't gonna get it.
Well, okay, so getting back to the American cinema. I've got my Placid Twin stories and I got my American cinema stories. I used to go to the American cinema on Sunday matinees a lot.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter to me because my parents always bought my ticket. So if it was a rated R movie, my parents didn't give a crap,
Yeah.
As long as I wasn't watching porn, I was fine,
Yeah.
according to them.
Yeah.
And so they bought my ticket for Days of Thunder and another 48 hours. And I watched those movies back to back. I watched those movies back to back at the American cinema. But another story that involves Matt, okay, and everybody knows Matt's like 2 weeks older than me.
Right.
So 1995 rolls around and Halloween 6 comes out. So me and Matt's like, oh yeah, we gotta go watch the Halloween 6. We're all about it. Okay. So my mom drops me and Matt off, and where both of us is out of in 1995, what were we, 15, 16?
Yeah,
years old?
you losers went and watched it without me. I remember now, man.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know where you were that particular day.
I don't either, but y'all watched it without me. And I remember I was like, man, these guys suck.
Didn't have no cell phones back then. Wasn't no Facebook. Couldn't get a hold of it.
I was probably living up in the country without a telephone.
Well, I had gone to the American cinema so often that the dude knew me. Okay. So I walk up, dude sells me the ticket, and I'm not 17 yet. I'm
remember
16
this,
or whatever. I walk in, Matt walks up, 2 weeks older than me, and dude won't sell him a ticket because he don't know him. So we had to get the payphone, call my mom. She had done drove all the way back home or whatever because there wasn't no cell phone back then.
Yeah.
Call my mom. She had to drive all the way back down there and buy his ticket to get him in. Matt, you remember that?
Yeah, I do, because I told that guy, I was like, you just let that dude just walk in, and he's not 17.
You domed him out.
You did.
That dude's like,
I'm taking all of us down.
That dude says, I don't know you.
Man, I remember you guys talking about that back in the day, and I thought, well, that's what you get for not taking me, man.
God almighty, that was funny. And you was 17 at the time, so you could have got everybody in.
Yeah, I know, man. That's why y'all should have I was probably at work.
I wasn't 17 because I wasn't driving yet.
Right. We were both of us was only 16. But the thing that made it so funny to me was that I'm 2 weeks younger than you, and I was the one that got in.
Yeah, I would have been 17 though, so I could have got everybody in.
Yeah, you could have got everybody in.
You were older than us because I started driving my junior year. Because I was 16 my junior year, and I was going to be 17 that year, that December. Yeah. I wasn't 17 then.
But did you start out with the Malibu, or did you start out? Which one of you's had the White Thunder chicken?
That's Travis.
Okay, that's Travis.
That's this guy right here, buddy. That was the mudding car. You couldn't get it stuck in no fields,
except the snow.
my truck.
It still didn't get stuck. It slid right on through that ice and hit that other truck. So I mean, it still kept going.
My truck was a juggernaut, man. It didn't need no oil.
No, I remember we checked the oil, and that freaking dipstick was smoking, man. I was like, oh my God, that car probably had oil in it in 6 months. I'm gonna see how it kept driving.
Hey, I named that truck the Juggernaut. We was trying to get up that hill behind the hospital, and it was wet, and it took us about 20 minutes because it just had enough traction to keep going forward, but not enough traction to pull us on through the damn thing.
I remember.
I bet we went through half a tank of gas just trying to get up that hill.
Why was it doing that?
Because there wasn't no tread on the tires and it was wet out there. It's a steep hill, man.
Well, first off, I was only 16, and I hadn't been driving a straight shift for maybe 2 weeks, and I learned how to drive it down there at the junior high, And so me and Travis was supposed to meet my mom and her husband at the time over at Applebee's. Well, I was too scared to go up Depot Hill.
You got to dodge Depot Hill, baby.
So I ended up going around the hospital, and instead
and went to a much steeper hill than Depot Hill ever thought about being.
That's what I was going to say. Instead of turning right there at I turned right there in the hospital instead of going on down because I wasn't thinking. And so we started up that hill right across the railroad tracks right there, and then we started sliding. And I was, I don't know, second shift and went to shift to third, and then we was sliding. And Travis was like, gear down. And I'm like, it won't go anywhere. It don't matter where the hell I gear, it's going.
We was in third gear hitting about 8,000 RPM trying to get up that hill.
So, Lord have mercy.
So we ended up we did get up the hill, and we come out behind Ingalls, and we ended up going to the Crystal because my leg wouldn't stop shaking long enough to let the clutch out to go through another red light. I was too scared, so we ended up going through the Crystal.
Oh man, the funniest thing, and Matt, I don't know if it was the first time you took the Malibu out or when it was, but it was close to when you first started driving. Matt goes to get gas and drives over one of those yellow pumps at the Rocky Top.
Dude, that was
prom night.
Dude, that was prom night. That was my senior prom, and what happened is that Renee had been like badgering me the whole day, and then she just kept working my nerves that night. And I guess I thought I parked too far up away from the gas tanks where I could just turn, when I got out. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't do that. I was like even with the island. So when I got the gas, I just turned. And hit the
God.
concrete. So instead of being smart and stopping and backing up, I just grinded it, man. Like Tony Hawk on a rail or something.
Oh my God.
He was 16 years old. He'd already had 2 wrecks because he done wrecked the Beetle. You wrecked the Beetle when you was 12 when you ran it into the telephone pole.
Yeah, but I didn't have my license then, so that's irrelevant.
Hey, you remember?
I get down to Big B because I knew I'd done some damage to Dad's car, and I get a flashlight, and Renee's still talking about whatever, and I go around. I was like, well, this doesn't look too bad, but as I kept walking, the metal was more crushed in, and I was like, oh, this is real bad. And then the police come up there.
They did?
Yeah, it's like, hey, we just had a report from the manager at Rocky Top that you ran over the gas pump.
Wasn't me.
I said, I guess I did. I
said, nope.
I said, I guess I hit the concrete. I didn't hit the metal pumps. I said, it's impossible to get up there.
Yeah.
So you need to come back with us to see it. And I was like, God. So I get back in the car, and Renee's still going. We're still going back and forth arguing about it. Well, the red light here in town?
Yeah.
Right there where Reedy's and Rocky Top is. He stopped. The cop had stopped at the red light, and she had me like, I was looking at her while I was driving, and she said, look out. And I looked up, and dude, I about hit the police car.
Oh my God.
Dude, I had just slammed the brakes, and I swear to God, my seatbelt got busted out on the steering wheel because I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. So we drive up into the Rocky Top manager stand out there, and this is like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm in a tuxedo. And the manager's like out there, and I pull up, and you got the gas pumps. He's got those, they're like the upside down U concrete.
Yeah.
Idiots like me from hitting the gas pumps.
Yeah.
There's nothing but blue paint all on the concrete. And he goes, the police officer gets out and he says, well, I don't guess you done any damage here. I was like, no, I didn't. I hit that car.
They're concreted in the damn ground. What kind of damage am I going to do?
So I get Renee home, and I don't tell Dad about the damage because it's already nighttime. It's like 1 o'clock. So I go to bed. So y'all know Dad.
Yeah.
So When he woke up, I woke up because he's hollering at me. And I walk in there and I said, what? And he had some few choice words and he says, what'd you do to my car? I was like, I hit a gas pump. He goes, how? I told him the story and he's like, he just looks at me like he don't know what to say. He's like, I don't know how we're going to get it out. I was like, he's like, I don't know how we're going to fix that. I was like, I don't either. So yeah, he cussed me for a while on that one.
He ended up pulling it out and getting it bondoed up and everything, though, didn't he?
I mean, he figured it out, but he was not happy. He was not happy about that at all.
Oh man, that's great.
And what makes it even better is you've been sober as a judge since the day you were born. You weren't even drunk. You couldn't even blame it on alcohol. Is how you hit that pump.
I've never drunk a drop of alcohol, and I've had more accidents than probably DUI offenders.
God. Oh man.
That's why we used to make fun of you, saying, "Okay, we're gonna take a trip." And then Corky's driving. Oh yeah, it's fine. And I'm driving. Oh yeah, okay, I see blue skies. And then wait a minute, there's Matt driving. I see flames. Oh my God, I see flames.
I see flames.
Now,
if you want me to go with you, I'm a great navigator, but I do not like driving.
You remember that time the first time that me and you went to Cleveland? That's just 16. And we went Christmas shopping. It was around Christmas. And we pulled up at that, it's a kangaroo station now. It's right across from Baskin Robbins in Cleveland. We get out, and I noticed I've forgotten to take my keys out of the ignition. And I said, Matt, don't slam the door. And I had already closed mine. And you slammed the door. And I'm sitting there looking at the keys swinging in the ignition. And we were there for... Bet you we were there for at least 3 hours.
How'd you guys get it unlocked?
We called the cops. The cops come down and jimmied the door open. Matt was wanting to bust my mom's window out. And I'm like, no, that ain't happening. What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
Hey, he was going to do it with that little upside down U thing next to the gas pump too.
Souvenir.
Yeah, we'd have got in a lot quicker.
Who was
That's
with us
great.
that time? We all went. Who was with us that time?
You remember at that camp out we had where we all sat around that campfire and got smoke in our clothes and we sat in her car and we got smoke in the
God,
fabric.
she was so mad about that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like I got reamed that next day.
I remember that, man.
It got smoke. It's smoke in my car, and I'm like, it's no different than when Dad drives in it.
We were cold.
No, I remember whenever we went to Lake Winnie, and you got sick, Corky, and we were in your mom's car,
and Miss Simpson was there.
Miss Simpson was there. It was me and you and Matt. Travis, I can't remember if you were there or not, or if it was Derek. I think Mitchell was there with us. But you got sick on the ride.
I don't think it was me.
I had to drive that thing back.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Because I was sick as a dog.
Yes. Because
Yeah,
I mean, what you gonna do? Have Matt drive? You can't.
No, I was not getting us out of Chattanooga. That's not gonna happen.
We wouldn't have made it 2 miles.
We'd still be on our way back.
We'd be dead, man. We'd be dead. We'd be playing hearts.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think that's a good way to end this one, man. I think that was an awesome show, and we'll try to get back and do this thing again next week. You guys good with everything tonight? We think we covered everything well, and
I think so. I think that we definitely got off.
Well, hey,
topic,
sometimes that's how it happens, man, and we ain't gonna worry about it. You know what I'm saying?
It went good. We all covered our movies.
Yeah. Well, all right. We'll sign off and we'll say thank you and see you next week. Bye.